Welcome, everybody, and thank you for attending today's joint Intland and Parasoft presentation on cut compliance cost and ensure lifecycle traceability with Codebeamer ALM and Parasoft. As you can see, we have a couple of good-looking labs presenting today. My name is Ricardo Camacho, and I'm a Senior Technical Marketing Manager for Parasoft. And I'm accompanied by Jaykumar Daniel from Intland. Mr. Daniel is a senior pre-sales consultant. Say hi, Daniel.
Hello, hi everyone.
Now, before we get started, let's go through some necessary housekeeping. Now, first, everybody's microphone has been muted. However, if you have questions, please enter them into the question dialog section. You should see the question button in your control panel. Also, the webinar is being recorded, which will be made available within the next 12 to 16 hours. You can use the link https://intland.com webinar recordings for access. Parasoft will also be making the recording available via our website. Additionally, both Intland and Parasoft have some exciting events coming up, so please visit both of our websites for detailed information. And while you are there, please register and try our products. Now, on the agenda, I'm going to start with a quick overview of Parasoft, where I will lay out the depth and breadth of Parasoft software testing solutions. I will then discuss the value that the Parasoft and Intland Codebeamer integration bring to the table. Then similarly, Daniel will take us through a quick glance at Intland software, followed by the exciting live demo, where you're going to see the integration in action. And I'm going to walk you through a workflow example so that you walk away with a good understanding of the value and approach of verifying and validating Codebeamer requirements using Parasoft. After the demo, we will open it up for Q&A and conclude with a call to action to come visit our website and again, try our products. All right, so Parasoft has been in the software industry for over 33 years, leading the industry in automated software testing, with a strong focus on offering the solutions needed by software companies in achieving standards compliance for safety and security critical applications. Our headquarters is located in Los Angeles, California, and we have various offices around the world. So no matter where you are located, there's a Parasoft representative in your time zone willing and able to accommodate any requests that you have. Also, we have a very broad product portfolio covering everything from a comprehensive set of static analysis solutions to unit testing and other testing methods, and up all the way through not just in the embedded space, but also in the IT enterprise space. And actually, this puts Parasoft in a unique and advantageous position worth knowing a little bit about. So I will quickly talk about both of these software testing domains, but the software focus for this presentation is embedded. Now, another key point is that all of our products in our portfolio are built by Parasoft, so they are not acquired products, therefore the integrations between them are seamless. So now this slide gives you a visual of the software domains embedded in enterprise IT and the industries that Parasoft supports. You can see the automotive, mil-aero, rail, medical, and industrial automation for the embedded space. And we also support financial banking services, healthcare, insurance, and other IT industries. So if you happen to be in an IT industry watching this webinar, know that Parasoft and Intland both support your space. Now, one common thing among all of these industries is at the foundation of every software project, you have to have well-defined requirements that specify what the system must do as well as not do. Without requirements, you don't know if what you're delivering will meet the stakeholders' expectations. And surprisingly, this has happened to me in the past as a project manager at another company. I was involved in a mil-aero project where I was asked to test code and find defects. However, there were no requirements. So I performed static analysis and unit testing to clean up the code and had to continuously inquire about what is the expected behavior and quality of service expectations in order to create meaningful test cases. It was a very inefficient and problematic situation because I always felt uncertain about, what is it that I'm testing and how am I delivering things. In other words, functional requirements and non-functional requirements were missing. And this starts to expose the reason why Parasoft built the integration with Codebeamer. Codebeamer's requirements management offering. So I'm going to touch on requirements management in the embedded space just to help put things a little bit into perspective. To elaborate, functional requirements specify the behavior or capability that the system is supposed to do or perform, so what it should do. They are basically the requirements stated by the end user, which one can see directly in the final product. Unlike non-functional requirements, these are things like performance, portability, reliability, and many other such traits that are sometimes referred to as quality attributes or quality of service. Now, in your typical embedded software lifecycle, your requirements originate from your stakeholder. These are very high-level customer requirements, like the car engine will be monitored and controlled by an electronic control unit, which will perform X, Y, and Z functionality. The stakeholder requirements are negotiated and contractually established. The stakeholder requirements are then refined or decomposed and partitioned into their corresponding domain: hardware, software, mechanical, chemical, etc. Now, focusing on software, you end up with your system level requirements. These get further decomposed into high level software requirements. And as you define your software architecture, they then get further decomposed into low level software requirements. Now, each decomposed requirement traces back up to the parent requirement, producing your traceability. The traceability commonly includes a link also to the test cases as well. And for some of the strictest industries standards, traceability continues down actually to the code or lines of code to satisfy that requirement. So let's take a look at some of the industry standards. Most likely, you're having to conform to a process standard and you are using Codebeamer to manage a product or application lifecycle. Standards such as automotive, ISO 26262, avionics, DO-178B/C, medical, IEC 62304, rail, EN 50128, and industrial, IEC 61508. And you need to adhere to these standard recommended or mandated things like decomposing your requirements, provide a traceability or traceability matrix to help identify gaps in your requirements, and that the requirements be verified and test cases be also validated through execution. And this is actually where Parasoft fits in the picture. Parasoft provides the testing methods defined in these process standards. Testing methods like static code analysis, which we support MISRA, AUTOSAR, CERT, CWE, and many other coding standards, or your own custom in-house coding standard. We also automate your unit integration system testing, help users perform structural code coverage, statement, branch, MCDC, and assembly, and other types of testing, which some of them fall in the IT space, like API testing, UI testing, and service virtualization. Also, very important to know is that we easily integrate within your embedded ecosystem. We help you test on your host, virtual, or target hardware. We support an extensive list of compilers, and we integrate with numerous IDEs. IDEs like Eclipse, VS Code, Code Composer, WinRiver, Workbench, Green Hills Multi, and the list continues. But why this is important is because the learning curve is very, very short. Developers are using the IDEs that they know and are comfortable with to do their testing. Now, let me put this into a big picture. You have these industry functional standards with a multitude of compliance mandates covering all the way from requirements management to software testing. Together, Codebeamer and Parasoft solution complement each other by creating a framework that satisfies this end-to-end need. And this leads me into my why Parasoft has built an integration with Codebeamer. To reiterate, our combined solution offers a beginning-to-end application lifecycle framework for the software verification and validation of embedded real-time safety and security critical systems. Both our customers have the same industry standard compliance needs, and our tools or solutions complement each other very well. For example, with Codebeamer, you will author your requirements, capture test cases, and produce the important traceability matrix as part of going through the development lifecycle and produce compliance reports. Then Parasoft will take you to the next step by performing the testing methods needed for certification. This means that we realize the Codebeamer captured test cases, and Parasoft also provides the additional traceability down to the code. And no matter whether you have adopted an agile methodology, spiral process, waterfall approach, or a custom hybrid process, both our solutions can accommodate. Okay, I'm going to walk you through an optional workflow in the live demo, but let's take a sneak peek at some of the artifacts that are produced. Now, on the bottom right, you have a sample traceability matrix from Codebeamer, and there are various levels that you can construct to give you that view from different perspectives in helping you find gaps and requirements that are not being addressed. Above that window, you see the Parasoft dashboard with pie charts and other widgets that offer information about the progress and health of your software and project under development. In the middle, you will see a green and red color-coded code representing the code coverage that the source files has achieved. Then slightly to the left, you will see a circle with a 70.7% coverage. This is for the entire project. Now, the test case explorer window on the top right shows some of the test cases that have been created to unit test or exercise the code. In other words, help validate requirements and or simultaneously achieve coverage. So you can kill two birds with one stone. We also have a bidirectional navigation between both tools, which is actually really nice. And in all, the integration collaboration between our solutions help ensure that every requirement is addressed, that nothing is missed, and that there isn't anything extra in your system. Because really in today's world, you can't afford to allow faulty software out the door, and you need to ensure that you have built the right product and that the product was built right. Now, this V model infographic here helps visualize the integration and scope of the software development lifecycle solution that it offers. On the left side of the V, you have Codebeamer, where requirements management is performed through the different phases. And you also have Parasoft DTP, where the handshaking and exchange of information takes place between our tools. Now, on the right-hand side of the V, you have all of the testing solutions offered by Parasoft. So as you can see, our solutions complement each other and address the right and the left side of the software development lifecycle, as represented here in this infographic, and fully, and fulfill the safety and security standards required by your industry. Extremely important is that the integration and automated collaboration between our solutions improves productivity, reduces effort, which means reduces labor costs, and improves time to market. Additionally important is that the integrated solution will ensure that you deliver the right product and that it is safe, secure, and reliable. One final bit of information is that both our solutions are TÜV certified for use on safety critical applications, and Parasoft has a tool qualification kit available for meeting standards like DO 178 B and C or A. Okay, so I'm now going to pass control over to Daniel, where he's going to present on Inland's Codebeamer and also start our live demo.
Thank you, Ricardo. Before going into the live demo, I would like to give a brief overview about Intland Software, what we do, and who we are. So Intland Software was founded in the year 1998. We are a global ALM tool provider, and we are headquartered in Stuttgart, Germany. We have R&D facilities in Stuttgart and in Hungary. We are working very closely with reseller, consulting technology partners, and implementation partners in different geographical locations. So we have resellers and other partners in US, UK, France, Switzerland, India, Korea, South Korea, Vietnam, etc. What do? We have two products in our portfolio. Intland has Codebeamer ALM and also Retina, but the key focus for today's webinar is going to be on Codebeamer ALM. So for people who are seeing Codebeamer or hearing the name for the first time, what's Codebeamer ALM? It's a holistic platform. So It's a single tool or platform, collaboration platform, where you can do requirements management, software development, QA testing activities, risk management. So it covers all the aspects of product development lifecycle, right from idea to software development, coding, etc. So, I mean, it also ensures that collaboration is the core thing here, and it breaks down silos. So no teams are working alone, or everyone has a single source of truth. Everyone is collaborating on the same information. So gone are those days when people are working in silos. They really don't know what's happening in other department or in other projects or domains. And now, everything is connected together, which enhances collaboration. So everyone is up to date and you have access to a single source of truth. And this process, it can be across teams, systems, and along the enterprise. We do offer, as Ricardo mentioned, I mean, both Parasoft or Intland, we are very much active in the safety critical industry, and majority of our customers are from the safety critical industry. So we have robust process and compliance support for our customers in the safety critical. So we do serve and support automotive customers, medical, pharmaceutical, avionics, etc. And not just that, we also have customers in financial banking as well. And as a tool, Codebeamer ALM helps customers to adapt different methodologies. So if you say we would like to adapt agile way of working, no worries. I mean, we do have the concept of smart templates, which will help you to get started, and thereby cutting down your rollout cost. So if you say, okay, we would like to have the best of both, agile as well as waterfall. For example, the hardware team are still following the waterfall approach, and the software teams are having agile way of working. No worries. Again, we do have a hybrid template which will help you to get started. Again, if you want to scale agile on an organization level, we do offer support for SAFe, which is scaled agile framework for enterprise, and large scale Scrum. So big OEMs and tier ones, they are leveraging the concept of smart templating. And not just that, I mean, I saw that a lot of people who have joined the webinar, they are from the automotive and medical devices. So if you ask, hey, I'm from an automotive, I mean, do you have any template which is focused only on automotive? Yes, I mean, we do offer domain specific templates. We'll see about it in the coming slides. When I said it's a platform, it's a platform, holistic platform which takes care of all your application development needs. So in this specific slide, we'll see the different modules of features that's actually supported in Codebeamer ALM. So I mean, we do offer a robust requirements management module, and for software development, we do have integrations with different SCM repositories like Git, Subversion, Bitbucket, GitLab, GitHub, etc. And we also do offer on the other side of the V model, for example, quality assurance, quality testing. So by default, you can do manual testing, and we do have integrations with many expert tools, and Parasoft is one among them, and that is why we have the webinar today. And risk management, I mean, it's no longer seen as a different module, but whenever we have requirements, we are in a situation that we should find out the risk, and we should make sure that we are mitigating the risk in a proper way. So Codebeamer offers a very good risk management capabilities, and you can also do project management, release management using the same tool. So it's not just requirements or testing activities that you're doing, but you can also use the same tool for agile project management. How are you planning your releases, etc. When it comes to DevOps, again, we do support Docker, Kubernetes, containerization, many microservices. So this is how we support DevOps. I mean, we also offer support for product line engineering, variance management. We also have branching reuse capabilities, which is very robust. And in addition to this, if you want to, review our items, especially for the medical device, if you want to comply with 21 CFR Part 11, our Review Hub is helping you with e-signatures process which ensures that you are actually complying with 21 CFR Part 11. So Review Hub is a very good capability. It adds a lot of value, especially when you want to approve or reject an item, when you would like to have review as part of your workflow. So you can leverage from the Review Hub. And finally, all the information is stored in the underlying database, which means I can apply proper filter, query, group by criteria, and I can have real-time information, which will help me to make some informed decisions. So this is just in a nutshell showing you the different modules or capabilities of the whole Codebeamer ALM suite. And I was talking about smart templates, right? So if you are a customer and if you want to get started, if you want to comply with ISO 26262 automotive SPICE, right? So you can take advantage of this automotive template. What it basically has, it has processes, workflows, artifacts which are custom fine tailored to automotive standards. Instead of you starting from the scratch, you have this template and you can build on top of it. So this will help you to cut down significant amount of time. So in other words, what might take you weeks and months to configure your own process, you can take the smart templates and you can fine tune it, refine it based on your process. So as simple as that. No worries, guys. Maybe if you are asking, I'm from avionics. I also saw some participants are from the avionics. So if you're from the avionics, again, we do offer smart template for avionics, which will help you to comply with DO 178C or DO 254. When it comes to medical, again, we will help you to comply with IEC 62304 or ISO, the different risk standards. So, we do offer smart templates and you can take advantage of it, thereby saving significant amount of time if you would like to get started with Codebeamer. Again, in pharma, we have the GAM5 template. So this is in a nutshell about the different templates or the different domains. And as I've said we also support different methodologies. So we do offer templating for different methodologies as well. So this final slide talks about some of our reference customers. So as I've said during in the beginning that we are kind of a trusted tool when it comes to safety critical industries, and it's pretty much evident what you see here. So we have all the big logos here, be it in automotive or in medical or in avionics. So we work with the industry leaders. We know what the brain processes are, and we add significant value, and we always strive to solve the problems of our customers. So these are some of our happy reference customers. Without further delay, I'll just let's jump into the live tool so you can get to see what actually has been done in terms of integration. For people who are new to Codebeamer, I would like to spend 1 or 2 minutes explaining the user interface of the tool so that you know what exactly me or Ricardo is talking during this webinar. So this is the user interface of the tool. You can see Codebeamer is a 100% browser-based tool. All you need is a web browser, internet access, and for this specific webinar, I'm just using the cloud-hosted SaaS instance. But if you want to host Codebeamer on-premise on your server, this is totally doable. And gone are those days when you need to install the application on every client machine, but here you can access Codebeamer just using the URL in your web browser and with proper internet access. So right now you can see I'm within the projects tab. So on the left we call this the breadcrumb view, and this is always showing you in which specific section of Codebeamer you're currently working on. So I'm within the projects tab, and maybe if, for example, you are an automotive company, and if you have different projects based on different product lines or based on different departments like electrical or hardware, mechanical, etc., then you can categorize them in a meaningful way. So you can create your own categories and you can categorize them. Right now you can see this project is kind of uncategorized, and if I want to categorize it, all I need to do is just drag and drop. So the tool is really intuitive to use. Using drag and drop, you'll be able to do a lot of functionalities. So you'll see during the course of demo how simple and easy it is to use the Codebeamer. So this is the project that I've created for this webinar, the automotive ECU project. on clicking onto the project, you can see it immediately takes me to the wiki page. And as I've said you can see from the left corner, it shows me the project name, and within the project name, which specific section I'm currently working on. So it takes me to the wiki page of a project. So what is a wiki page in Codebeamer? Again, let's just try to keep it simple. I mean, imagine wiki page to be more like a knowledge sharing area. Imagine if you want to share any project specific information with your team members, like what's the scope of a project, what are all the deliverables, who are all the different stakeholders involved. So in that case, you can just put all the information in this wiki page, and your team members, based on the access rights, they can see the information that you share with them. I mean, not just that, in addition to the wiki page, you also have some nice dashboard functionality. So here you can just see I have some nice dashboards giving me some meaningful information. So here we are talking about some higher level portfolio. We talk about estimated revenue, investment, budget, etc. What you can also see here, it says show source report, and on clicking onto it, it takes me to the report functionality of the tool. And since all the information is stored in the underlying database, I've just applied filters, I've just applied some group by criterias, I've just added everything, and I mean, I've just visualizing it using the dashboard functionality of the tool. So here you can just see I'm just using the dashboard functionality of the tool. And another example, on the team level, you can see who's working. I mean, in this case, you have a release, and you can see who's working on which specific release, how many items are assigned to which developers in this case. You can also see there is a specific release, and out of 24 items, 4 items has been done. So it kind of gives me some real-time project progress. If I want to add a widget, it's simple. We have many widgets available out of the box. If you want to have a burn down chart, or if you want to have a pie chart, or bar chart, I mean, we have a lot of widgets available out of the box, and you can leverage from it. The main thing what we want to focus is the trackers. So tracker is something which is more specific to Codebeamer. What is a tracker? Again, to put it in simple words, a tracker is like a logical container, or imagine a tracker like a document which holds all the work items, and all the items within a document, they follow uniform workflow and processes. So in this specific, when I say I have a systems requirement tracker, you can see there are 3 systems requirement within this tracker. So it's more like a container. So in this specific project, I have these are all the trackers that are available. And of course, if you want to create your own trackers, you can create your own trackers. And traceability, right? So that is one of the main reason for having this webinar. Traceability is one of the core concept when it comes to safety critical industries. If you want to see how the trackers are related to each other on a higher level, we do have a very nice view, which is what we call the configuration diagram. And you can just see, I mean, it's pretty simple, straightforward, self-explanatory. I have my systems requirement tracker, which is on a higher level, and from here I have a higher level requirements, and from here I can derive a lower level requirements, and I can have verifying test cases both for high level requirements and for low level requirements. Of course, as I've said, you can create your own trackers, and you can also define the references, how the trackers should be related to each other. So this forms the basis of traceability. Not just that, you can also see there is some process enforcement happening in the background. What am I saying? Imagine I would like to have a lower level requirements derived. So it should be possible only from a higher level requirement and not from a systems requirement. So Codebeamer is ensuring that processes are properly defined and processes are properly enforced, so that the users are following what they're actually supposed to do and they're not doing anything wrong. So this is the configuration diagram. Let me just enter into a specific tracker, and you can just see I'm within my systems requirement specification tracker. And on the left, what you see here, this is more like a tree like hierarchy. and on the center you can see this is more like a document kind of a user interface, and on the right what you see here, this is the attributes or the properties pane, showing you all the attributes that belong to this specific requirement. So you can create your own custom fields and attributes. Of course, we do have different views here. So you have a you have a table view which is more comparable to Excel. We do have a third view, which is a combination of a first and a second. So document and a table view. This is what we call a document edit view. This is more comparable to IBM DOS. So these days, a lot of people are migrating from traditional way of working or traditional tools to tools like Codebeamer, and this is just for them to give a kind of a known user interface, so they are comfortable. Nevertheless, it's very easy, straightforward, and quick to get started with Codebeamer. What I also wanted to say here on the right, you can see there are downstream references. So this specific systems requirement, it has from here I have derived multiple hardware requirements, and if I go to hardware requirements, for example, you can see on clicking onto one item, you can see it has many lower level requirements, right? So from here I can navigate to lower level requirements, and this is the lowest entity or atomic unit, and it should have verifying test cases. So if I click here, you can see I have the possibility to create a verifying test case. The same can also be visualized in the downstream reference. You can see I have a verifying test case, and we do have a very comprehensive view. So now that I've shown how each items can be related, it can be visualized in a very easy way. So if I want to see how items are related to each other, you can see I can define the project here. By the way, you can also have cross project references. So I can define the scope of a project. In this case, it's automotive ECU, and I would like to see, how this is related to test case, for example, right? So I can click on to test case, and I can hit on go. Looks like there is nothing here. Let me just click on to a different tracker now. And you can see these are all the lower level requirements, and it has verifying test cases. So it's pretty much evident, right? And if you're using this view continuously, you can save this as a preset. In my case, I've already created a preset which is showing you full lifecycle traceability. So this is showing you all the traceability information from systems requirement to the next level, which is hardware requirement, and to the verifying test case. And if it has from hardware requirement, you can also see it as a lower level requirement. So it's pretty it's pretty simple, straightforward. Here you can just see this hardware requirement, it doesn't have any verifying test case. So as a user, as a tester, this is a very good comprehensive overview, and it gives me an information of what's missing, what needs to be done. And this is a very nice view. And if needed, if I would like to have a paper-based traceability report, I can export this to Office. So just to submit to your auditors that everything has been properly traced. So I can export it to Office. And not just that, when I go to lower level requirements, and if I want to see if all the lower level requirements are covered by verifying test cases, we again have a very nice view, which is what we call the test coverage view. And you can see, there are some statistics here. So it says that there are 7 lower level requirements in the specific project, out of which the good news is all the 7 requirements are covered by verifying test case. And you can see, even though they are covered, they are still not executed. Only one requirement is verified by a test case, and it's executed, and you can see the result has passed. So I can expand this. You can see there is a very nice view. So this is a requirement, a lower level requirement, verifying test cases, and the run report. And you can see when this was executed, the timestamp, everything is captured. And again, I have the possibility to export this to Office if I would like to have this test coverage report in a paper-based form. This is a pretty nice view, and at this point in time, I would give control to Ricardo so that he can show in Parasoft how he is executing the test cases and how you can have such a comprehensive view in Codebeamer, so that you can have full lifecycle traceability in Codebeamer. Codebeamer. So he'll show you how he can create verifying test cases, how we can execute it. And I mean, this is an example of already executed one. So I'll just give the control back to Ricardo and he can take it over from here.
Thank you, Jaykumar. That was excellent. And so I'm going to continue real quickly from where Mr. Daniels left off. So this is the test case specification or tracker. And we can see we have several high-level test cases, and we also have some low-level test cases. And the handle sensor input value, that particular test case we're seeing here on the middle of the screen. This is the document view type of scenario. And you can see that the description describing, what the testing should cover. And also very important are the steps that need to be performed in order to validate this requirement and test case. And what you're seeing nested also is the handle sensor high test case, which is the Parasoft actual test case. We can see the name, we can see the location of it, and all that information. So this particular test case says that one of the first things we need to do is go ahead and then create a test case that where we're going to input certain values between 11 and 20 to make sure that the sensor can handle those values. The second step is to do some low-level values, and then another step is to how about those outside the boundary to see if we can handle values that are perhaps out of the boundaries of that sensor, and can we handle all of that? So that's what we're going to do. I created one test case, so just to show you, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the step of executing the second step. So you can see how this all happened and how Parasoft automatically put in and created this test case for you. Okay. The other thing I want to show you real quick is you can actually navigate through this and take a look at the information. We can take a look at the test runs, and you can see when these test cases were executed. You can see that one. This one was executed yesterday. And the other thing is we actually have the ability for you to navigate from Codebeamer to Parasoft. So let's click on that and let's navigate to Parasoft DTP. So again, when we navigate from Codebeamer to Parasoft, we're navigating right into the guts of this test case, telling you the name of the test case code, showing you information code and the actual test case. And there's a lot more information here, like code coverage and things like that. But I'm kind of jumping way ahead. But anyway, I wanted to show you that traceability to the test case and all the information. What I'm going to do now is show you where things begin. So for example, we're going to go to the report center, the external applications, and here's where you connect to Codebeamer. You select Codebeamer, provide your name, your user, your password, and we can test that connection. You can see we're actually connected. So now I'm going to take you to the actual Parasoft DTP. Now that we're connected, you can see that you have 17 requirements from Codebeamer. We show you a pie chart. There is one test case. So here's again, notice that we are synchronized. Jaykumar showed you that there was one test case that's been executed and so forth, and we have the same information. So the other things that we can see in this dashboard is everything related to the code. We have the code coverage, we have unit test cases, we have information whether it's MISRA compliant, and we can also navigate and look at, for example, all of the requirements. And we can see that this shell handle sensor input value has one test case, and it's passing, so it's at 100%. All right, the other thing important is that these dashboards, you can create as many widgets as you want. You can also expand that, and I created like another dashboard that's based on exactly the same code, the same project, but it's very specific to just the MISRA. So we can see if we're MISRA compliant. We can see there's 101 violations. 7 of these are mandatory, 64 are required, and there's 40 advisory. And everything again is actionable, so we can click on this, we can navigate to look at the issues with this particular violation. We see the code, we see where the violation exists. We can look at the documentation telling us what the problem is, the information regarding the violation, and also how to repair this violation. So this is really cool stuff. Now, I'm going to go quickly, about 5 more minutes, but where and how does this all information get in here? Where does the code exist? So I'm going to jump to then Parasoft C++ test. So right now this is running on Eclipse, and again, Parasoft runs on multiple IDEs like VS Code, WinRiver Workbench, Code Sorcery, Code Composer, and so on and so forth. Now this is a very simple project. On the left-hand side, we see the automotive ECU. We have just one source file, the sensor.c. We actually see the code here. And the other thing what we can start looking at, for example, is coverage information. You can see what I've done so far, or coverage I've gotten so far on the code. And the other thing that I've done already, just to help you explain here the information regarding the MISRA and all that stuff, you can select, right-click on the entire project or on a specific file, and you can run, like I ran MISRA C, I've run SCI Cert, AUTOSAR, and all that stuff on the code already. Now, the way I got this coverage is I went ahead and automatically created these unit test cases. So Parasoft has this built-in capabilities for you, and this is customizable, so we can perform unit testing, we can generate test suites, unit test cases. Because we support embedded, we support lots of these different compilers and hardware target environments. This list continues to grow, so if you don't see it here, we have more. Also, there's these compliance packs. So for example, if you want to go ahead and perform your MISRA C 2012 or MISRA C++, AUTOSAR, you have all that ability, or create the test cases for ISO 262 ASIL D unit level. Okay, aerospace as well, DO1. And again, not everything is here, but know that we can customize. So what happened is I created this, executed this test case to handle sensor. And one other thing I wanted to show you real quickly is, for example, for these lines where you don't see code coverage, where it's in red, what you can do is you can simply right-click on it, and you can select Parasoft and bring up this code coverage advisor feature. And it tells you, in order for you to execute or get coverage for that line, your input values here, for this value, you can see it needs to be between 0 and 10, and it'll cover these lines. So this is really nice because it, sometimes you have very a long list of inputs and outputs and stuff, and so this can help you real quickly. So it expedites and makes you more productive. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a test case to make sure we cover that. So I'm going to use the handle sensor high. As we can see, we can look at that test case here. You can see the table view and we can see the input values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply duplicate this test case. And you can see it there. I'm going to open it up. Now, instead of 10, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 5 because this is the low. I'm going to change it to low. And in fact, I'll just rename it to make it easy for us to distinguish it here. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this value message high, so that way it creates a problem. It won't pass. The test case won't pass. I wanted to kind of show you that. And the other thing is I'm going to want to actually link this to the requirement in Codebeamer and the test case in Codebeamer. So how do I do that? All right, so I'm going to click here. And this is the actual test case. This XML is actually the table view. And in this requirements tab here at the bottom, I actually have visibility to those requirements and those test cases. So simply by right-clicking, selecting copy ID, I can go ahead and add here the traceability to that requirement. And I'm going to also add the traceability to the test case. Now, one other very nice thing I'm going to do is that if you want to help you create these test cases, you have the ability to simply double click on it, and it brings that information up. It will bring the requirement up as well. So you can then create that. And we know in our case, we needed to do the information here in order to hit this. We needed to have like a value between 0 and 10. All right, so now that I've created this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and execute this case here. I'm going to run this. You can see that it's running. It's executing all of the test cases for us. And you can see that it's already red, which signifies that that test case has failed. And now that it's complete, though, it still executed that code, so we received our coverage. And the other thing I want to show you is that we can hit proceed, and this is how we now flushed all of this information to Parasoft DTP, and it also creates for us this text execution view. So this is really nice. We have a lot of information here, and we can also take a look at where the failure existed. You can see here that the expected a 1, but the return value was 0. So we have that. And let me jump back to Parasoft DTP. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this view. So I'm going to click refresh here. And we're going to see this being updated. So what's happening is that it's communicating with Codebeamer, and it's updating with that information with the test cases. We could already see here automotive ECU. There was one additional unit test case created. So we can see that that's being done. Now the server happens to be, I think, that we're using is I think out in Europe somewhere. So there's a little bit of a slow process here right now going on. But usually this is actually pretty quick. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to refresh this view. Both of these should be refreshed pretty soon. And just one other thing, because I always get asked, well, you know, what about when I perform my static analysis? Do I have the ability to customize that? So I want to show you real quick. Yes, you do. You can go ahead here and customize your rules. You can create your own user-defined rules or combine some of these. And you also have the ability here to press. You can always get asked that. Can I create a deviation? You can do it in the source code or suppress it locally. All right, so let me go back here. So we see that we have the 17 requirements. We see the Codebeamer. Notice it's red. And now when I go here, we can see we're at 50%. So we have 2 test cases, 1 passing, 1 failing, and for this particular requirement. And what I can do is I can now navigate back to Codebeamer. This is the requirement. Let's look at the downstream. We can see we have the low, and we can see we have the high. So we have this information that we know that it actually did not pass. And so once you have all your test cases created and they've all passed, you see that your requirements, you can actually create a Parasoft verified validated attribute. And once you get them all to pass, you can mark it as validated by Parasoft. Anyways, we're like really a little bit over time. So I'm going to go ahead, and that's all that I wanted to show you. I hope you got a good view of that. And let's go ahead here, and we'll use the rest of the time we have for Q&A. But please follow Parasoft in the Inland and also try our products.